Welcome to another episode in our Eurotours tutorials, where we're flying to every European country and of course their dependencies. We are currently on the ground here in a very wintry Tallinn. We'll be flying the Fenix A320, and all being well we will be on Vatsim. There is some coverage over in Copenhagen, so flight time of around 1 hour 23 minutes, and hopefully we will do some Vatsim coverage on the way too. So as you can see, this is the Asobo modelled Tallinn airport. We have got some injected aircraft from FSLTL, not too many on the ground. The modelling of this airport isn't brilliant, I have to say. There are some taxiways that are missing, but we will cover that as we proceed. So without further ado, let's get into the cockpit and let's get this started. So first thing, as always, I know it's a bit dark, but let's get the batteries on and we can then start to get some lights. Here we go. Where's the dome lights? There we go. Dome lights are on. So as we've said previous episodes, white lights off in the A320 or the Airbus, so let's turn all the white lights off to start with. That's the first thing, and we've done that. Just going to put some heat into the cargo. There we go. Turn on the beacon light because we're going to start our APU, so we wait a couple of seconds and then we can start our auxiliary power unit, which of course is the small engine in the tail of the plane that we can use to start the engines on pushback and power some of the electric. So that's kicking in. We'll leave that to it. Let's turn on the no smoking signs. Let's arm the doors, and top left, ATIS. Let's start to align our ATIS, because without this, can't let the aircraft know where it is, and it will not be able to work in terms of navigation. And remember, it's left, right, middle to nav. Left, right, middle to nav. Those fault lights will all go off, I hope. There we go, and we can just leave that ticking over. Let's go into our electronic flight bag, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to import from SimBrief our official flight plan. Before we do that, let me show you. There is our official flight plan. It's already pre-done for us. Speedbird 74 Bravo in the A320, originating in Tallinn, going to Copenhagen with an alternative of Leipzig, Echo Delta Delta Papa. Cruise today, flight level 340, 34,000 feet, aiming to be off the ground at 16:45. We might be cutting that a little bit fine, but we'll see. We're on the LONSA 1 Tango departure, and we're on the TID Victor 2 Charlie arrival. And if we look on, there we go, Vatsim clearly says on the ATIS that all arrivals will be Charlie arrivals, so we're okay today. Expect Charlie stars, so that's fine. And we've actually got Copenhagen approach on and Copenhagen Tower, so hopefully we will have some coverage on the way. Bring in from SimBrief, let's import that. Okay, so we've got 23 minutes to go, 16:45 off the stand. We're estimated arrival time is 18:37. We'll see if we get off on time. So let's go load the aircraft, and I'm just going to go fast time of 9 minutes. And I'm just going to let the EFB just deal with everything. I'm not going to actually change much in there to start with. Let's go into the MCDU. In fact, let's not. Let's make sure we've got a lot of light on here. I like bright lights on here so I can see what I'm doing. So let's turn the floodlights on. Happy with that. I'm just going to turn all the wind shear on because I often forget. Oops, just turned it off again. There we go, back on. And I'm going to tune this to 122.8 because we're going to be on Unicom for quite a bit of this flight till we get close to approach. I'm just going to leave that on there so we can monitor what's going on. Okay, into the MCDU, A2, AOC menu, flight init, and init data request line key. What that will do is it will bring in the data from our sim brief, I hope. There we go. Speedbird 74 Bravo, Tallinn, Copenhagen, Leipzig. Flight time was actually 1 hour 24 minutes, so that's fine. And today's date. Okay, init. That's init request. It'll bring most of the information, but of course it won't bring everything. Never does. Okay, flight number. British Airways, Speedbird 74 Bravo. Cost index today from our flight plan is 14. And as we said, our flight level today is 340. Done. Automatic. Now there is a left and a right arrow at the top, which means we need to input more information. So if I go to the right, zero fuel weight is again from SimBrief. If I just show you where that data is, zero fuel weight and the block fuel is really important. On our flight plan, you'll see here ZFW. That's your zero fuel weight, 59.1 or 59.2 tons if you want to round it up, and our block fuel is about 8.3 tons. So that's the information that you enter into the MCDU. So zero fuel weight, as I've said, I'm going to go 59.2 just to be safe. 59.2. Now I'm going to put a forward slash because I haven't got the zero fuel weight centre of gravity yet because the plane is still loading. So insert that. Our block fuel, let's go 8.3 tons. 8.3. That's nicely done. Don't need to do anything else at the moment, so let's go flight plan. And okay, so I'm just going to bring in Navigraph here just to show you. Helps if we put ourselves on the map. There we go. So as you can see, this is Tallinn Airport. Our taxi is an easy one, push back facing east, and we'll travel along Alpha all the way to the end, or we would do if that was there. All the way down to Alpha, holding point Golf, and then onto runway 26 and take off into the west. However, interestingly, the Asobu model doesn't have the end of Alpha, so you have to actually come onto the runway at Foxtrot, make your way down and turn, but there is no turning space here, so unfortunately we will be going off. It's not very realistic, but we will be going off onto the grass to come back onto ourselves to be able to take off. And our departure today is the LONSA 1 Tango departure. So straight out in front of us. The only constraint is we've got to be above 1,300 feet. And we climb to 4,000 feet. Or assigned altitude if it's lower. So if we're assigned an altitude by air traffic control, then that's what we would do. We then climb to a higher level only when cleared by air traffic control. Now there is no air traffic control on Tallinn at the moment, so we will make our own way to our flight level of 340. So let's hit Echo Tango November departure, and we are departing runway 26. We are on the LONSA 1 Tango departure, and let's insert. Okay, that's put all the waypoints in there on the departure, so let's go to Copenhagen. We will have to do some changes here. So our arrival into Copenhagen is the TIDVU 2 Charlie into ILS runway 22 left at the moment. Whoops. ILS 22 left. And we're on the TIDVIC 2 Charlie arrival. If I insert that now, this is going to be interesting because last time we did this, we ended up with a lot of discontinuities, and it doesn't look as though we have at the moment. Ah, there we have. He spoke too soon. So, and if you go to clear that, as you normally would, you just go clear. It won't let you do it. Won't allow it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear the manual because I don't want to fly manual. I'm then going to clear the flight plan discontinuity, and we should now, he says, should have a complete flight which will make sense on the arrival. The way to check that, as we've done previously, is make sure on the EFIS you turn to plan and that you can see both the nav display and your MCDU. The green line is the track we will take, so what I'm going to do is just scroll through now just to make sure that the flight plan makes perfect sense. So we'll be travelling southwesterly direction all of the way. There's TIDVU, and we now start to make our approach on the star. This looks okay at the moment. We then head northerly before we turn and to runway 22 left. And actually, if we wanted to go right to Adobe, we could click overfly Adobe, but it would give us a huge arc in. So I'm happy with that. I think I will keep that as it is. Perfect. So don't forget, change that back to arc. Back into the MCDU. Let's go to performance. So we're now going to do our takeoff performance. Again, this is really straightforward in the Fenix A320 because you can use the electronic flight bag. So if you come into the electronic flight bag, and at the top there's a little down arrow. If you hover over the top, you're going to see this second icon. This is your takeoff performance page. If you click that, okay, we then just have to input the details into here. Airport code's already done for us. We're on runway 26. It's not dry, it's wet. Let's go flaps 2. Sync our load sheet, which is done. It's just brought everything in. And then let's bring in the weather. Dismiss that, we've loaded up. Important here, just keep a note of that QNH 1007 and calculate. And we've got to make a note of all of this detail here on the right hand side. So V1 is 142, rotate is 152, V2 is 155. I'll come back to the transition in a second. Thrust altitude is 1140, flaps 2 / down 0.0, and our flex to temp is 62 degrees. All information that you will need to put into your MCDU. Is there any intersections on here? No, don't worry, we want to mess around with that. So let's go back in. V1 142, rotate 152, and V2 is 155. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet, so we don't have to mess around with that. And we know 1140, 1140 / 1140. 114, and that's that. Flaps 2 / down 0.0. Flex to temp 62 degrees. And that's it. That's the page done. That's the page completed. So I think we're okay here. Let's go back to the electronic flight bag because there is one thing we do need to go to. Mass and balance. Zero fuel weight percentage, centre of gravity is 30.6. 30.6. So we can come back into here, go to init page, hit the right arrow, and remember we couldn't enter this, so all we're going to do is forward 30.6 / 30.6 and then put that, and we should then have got our fuel page also completed. I think we're good. That's good. So let's just set our altitude of 34,000 feet. Oops, 34,000 feet. Now let's just come back up here. Our APU's fired up. Come to the back of the plane. You'll see the exhaust fumes coming out. You just see it, but there's the hot exhaust fumes. So we can turn off external power. We're okay. I'm going to turn our strobes on because we're going to let everybody know that we'll be departing shortly. Let's put our seatbelt signs on as well. And let's turn APU bleed on because we're going to need that to start the aircraft. Just while we're there waiting, I am going to file my flight plan in a second. I should have done that at the start actually, but I'm just going to make sure that Estonia or Copenhagen hasn't got further coverage that I need to be aware of. Not so far, so I think we're okay there. So I think what I'll do, let's file my flight plan. Connect. Don't want to connect us as the observer, do I? Flight plan, file flight plan. And we are now connected. You hear a lot of beeping because it will, some aircraft it won't be able to model. But we're okay so far. Okay. So we've got to let everybody else know just in case, and there are, I'm looking here, Estonia, have I got anybody coming here? No, not at the moment according to the map, but we've got to let traffic know because anybody could spawn here. Before I do that, 1007 was our QNH. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to just put a call out to Tallinn traffic just to let them know that we are looking to push and start facing east on taxiway Alpha from gate, what gate will we on? 64. Tallinn traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, pushing back from gate 64 facing east on Alpha. So if anybody is about, we've just let them know that's our intention. Let's connect the tug. Okay. What I'm going to do then is take off the parking brake. I'm going to turn the ignition switch ready. I'm not going to start just yet. Okay, let's. You see, we're pushing back. It's a really short pushback, so I will probably start turning fairly quickly. While we do that, let's start engine 1. Starting nicely actually, we've got a nice start up. We're going straight down the end of there. Get ready to stop in a second. Okay. Whoa, stop pushback please, thank you. Hello. I get pushed back into the terminal, look. Dear me. That was a bit useless, but never mind. Let's take the tug off. Tug is going away. Let's go find out what that beeping was. I suspect it was because... yeah, okay. Let's start engine number 1. flaps to 2, arm the spoilers, speed brake to max. Let's come back up here, let's turn the lights on, ready for taxi. So wing light come on, nav lights are now on, should have been on earlier, taxi lights on, ready for those and on. And I think we're almost ready. Oh look, it's snowing, terrific. So we're now just got to wait. And what we're looking for is our engine becoming available. See it come up here. They're starting really nicely. Got a good start on both those engines, so I can now turn off the ignition. Come up to the top, and let's turn off the APU bleed and turn off the APU. Back into the MCDU quickly because I've just noticed there's a company message which I think will be just our load sheets, but let's just double check. Yeah, load sheet. Let's accept the first one. Accept. Let's accept the second one. Accept. Right, right, so this is the interesting thing. We don't have ATC online, but we will get a squawk on the way, but 5235 is what we'll squawk for now. Yeah, let's squawk 5235 for now. That's fine. It's fine. We don't need to do much else. Now the time's 16:40, so actually we're going to be on time. Let's start the chrono. Okay, we're ready to taxi. Now this is where things do get interesting. Parking brake off. As I said to you before, the modelling on this is not fantastic. So we will probably lose some of the taxiway in a little while. So as you can see here, we're going to make our way all the way down Alpha, but this section here is missing. So that's going to be interesting trying to turn at the end. Just because it's an Asobo model, it's not a big issue, but we will be careful. Just give it a bit of juice just to get us going down there. Okay, so all green, one blue, takeoff test, let's do that. Takeoff test, all green, no blue, ready for takeoff. Configured nicely. So it is a bit slippy here. We do just have to keep that in mind as we taxi down to the end of the runway. I should have called that actually. Tallinn traffic speedbird 74 Bravo, taxiing down Alpha for holding point Golf. Doesn't look as though I've got company at the moment. Oh, yes, no, it's me. I was looking on the map thinking, who's that? Oh, yes, it's me. That's why. So you'll find as we go down here, for whatever reason, we run out of taxiway. I could try and keep going. Not the best idea, but we could. More in line. Here we go. So we just taxi all the way down to the end of the runway. I mean, it's a very, very straightforward taxi, and then we will turn facing west. And then we'll be taking off, and it's a very straightforward southwesterly track down to Copenhagen. Copenhagen's looking a little bit busy. Vatsim is live, so we may get vectored, which is fine. That's all part of Vatsim. And don't be afraid if you're new to Vatsim, just put in the notes that you're new to Vatsim, and the controllers generally will be a little bit more patient with you. Just looking who's online for us at the moment. Nobody, so we don't have to worry too much yet. It is going to be as we get closer into Copenhagen. Probably get a beep just to say contact me, which is fine. We shall do that. We will have 119.8 ready, but we'll also have to just check out the ATIS information for Copenhagen as well for the arrivals, because we have to let them know we have information with whatever it is, Delta, Echo, that we're in receipt of that notification, and that we are an A320 where we are. .8, so we are on that Unicom. It is very quiet. It's not the most popular of airports, Tallinn, to be fair. Our flight plan is filed. Squawk in mode C. Ooh, why am I not squawk in mode C? That is interesting. So you're supposed to squawk mode C. Okay. I'll worry about that as we get closer. Flight plan is filed, connected to the voice server. Settings. Let's just check. Yeah. All good on the settings. Okay, let's wait and see. So we'll just steadily make our way down. It's a bit of a slow canter, isn't it? I don't know why I can't. Connect with mode C. But anyway, there we go. File flight plan, that's filed. We're connected to the voice server. We're okay on that front. Just trying to make sure that the audio comes through the right place so you can hear it. Now, here we go. We're running out of taxiway. However, that's only Foxtrot. We want to be down the end to Alpha. Interesting in itself. So we will have to taxi down the runway, I'm afraid. Don't like it. I can't see where it just goes. It just disappears. Your blue edge markers come around this corner and it just stops there. Well, there is another taxiway down the end and right, so it is incorrectly modelled. But I can't see it being one that Asobo have put a lot of time into, to be perfectly fair. So we're going to go left here. Just going to check. Tallinn traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, just entering runway at Foxtrot to taxi down to take off from runway 26, Speedbird 7 Bravo. I have no idea whether that transmitted or not because there is nobody else there. I could probably have taken that, to be fair. Let's just get down the end and do a turn. Right, here we go, a bit quicker, a bit too quick possibly, but so not very realistic. Unfortunately, I am going to come off the edge of the runway because it isn't modelled. There you go, runway 26. So I'm just going to take a wide bearing on this because it's bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers, but never mind. It is what it is. It does unfortunately mean you take a really wide turn in circle because you're on the mud. And there's the runway there, look, so I just need to get turned round here. Coming back on the edge now. It's not the best, but do you know what? We'll make do. We'll make do. Okay, all green, no blue on the ECAM, so we're good to go once we get back on here. There's that blooming oversteer again. Don't know what it is with the Fenix. Okay, we'll line up and we'll let everybody else know what we're about to do. Okay. Tallinn traffic, Speedbird 74 Bravo, taking off runway 26. Here we go. Let's go for it. Spool up. Power's on. Wind is not great. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Oh no! Oh my word! That's got to be one of the worst takeoffs in history ever. Dear me! Gear up. Autopilot on. Oh my word. Apologies for that, that's embarrassing. Ground spoilers off, speed brakes off, flaps 1. Just cleaning up. Dear me. That was awful. Engine anti-ice, so we need to put the anti-ice on. Ice detected. It's a bit cold, I'm not surprised. And we're off. Dear me. Well, that was an awful takeoff, but anyway, never mind. Nobody was here to see us. It's all good. No one saw. We're now making our way nicely along our SID. So we're on the LONSA 1 Tango SID. Got to be above 1300 feet, which we are. So we're now making our way down the LONSA 1 Tango departure. No ATC, so we're just going for flight level 340. And I don't think there's anybody else about, so we're okay in terms of other traffic. We're okay to keep climbing because there is no other aircraft in our area, in our vicinity. We have let them know our intentions anyway, and we're away. So what I'm going to do, it's only tower now on. I'm hoping, well, it may change because we have got Oslo Polaris control is on. And typically, just as we've set off, guess what's come online? Yep, coverage of Tallinn. Never mind, not going to worry too much. If it's on in Copenhagen, it's on. If not, then we'll sort it. So Q&H go to standard now because we've got through the transition altitude. Remember, that will be when it flashes down here, you just pull the knob and it will automatically change to the transition altitude. We're climbing for flight level 340, just going through 6,000 feet. We're leaving very wintry Tallinn behind us. Tallinn's over here, come up, spun round. It's quite dusky, got a bit of cloud cover. In Tallinn, we're just coming through the worst of it actually, and then we get clear skies. There is a heap of snow sat on the top. And don't forget, if you're liking what we're doing, apart from the takeoffs obviously, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, support the channel, and let us know what you think. It's really important to us, and if there's anywhere you would like us to visit on our Euros tour that we haven't already done so, just leave us a comment, or if you want any other tutorials again, more than happy to put those together. Promise it won't be as bad as that takeoff. So flight time of approximately 1 hour 23 minutes. If we look at the MCDU, let's have a quick look in there. Go to flight plan. Anticipated being on the ground 1814. So what's that? About an hour and 24 minutes to go. An hour and 24 minutes run time. So it's probably about right. And we're still climbing, just going through 10,000 feet. Once we get to 10,000 feet, all the lights we will turn off. There we go. So let's come up here. Turn off the lights. Oops, wrong way. It always does that one. I'm going to have to look at that. And let's turn off the seatbelt signs. Can't get the right angle. Never mind. I'm going to do it from my seat. Watch. There we go. Oh dear. It's easier to do it from here actually. And there we go. Beacon light, strobe light, nav light all on. Be able to turn the wing anti-ice off in a second. So inside, just make sure that they are on. There you go. Got our port light. And our start light. Red, port, green, start. Let's turn off the anti-ice now. Nope. Too soon. It's still cold outside, so we will still leave them on. Downside of that is, of course, it drinks more fuel, so we do have to bear that in mind. Once we get up to our cruising altitude through this thin air, then we should, thicker air, we should be okay. So steadily, just making our way now, all looking good. Copenhagen's looking busy still, so hopefully we will get some Vatsim coverage. Just blasting through flight level 110. Remember, we're targeting 340. I will call out in a second just in case. wait until we get through LONSA, which is at the end of our star. No, it's not. It's the end of our SID. LONSA at the end of our SID, and then we're heading for ODVIN in a southwesterly direction, as you can see here, coming down towards the end of the star at LONSA. We'll continue in a southwesterly direction all the way into Copenhagen, where we will then start our descent. Really important to know when your top of descent is coming, and that's available through your flight plan in the MCDU. So we know after PIPAV is our top of climb. So just to show you that on the chart, he says, where's he put the chart? There we go. On the chart, we're currently here making our way to LONSA, and PIPAV, just after PIPAV, will be our top of our climb. That's when we'll hit flight level 340. So T/C, top of climb, 1712, so about 12 minutes. We're looking for TD, there it is, so 1749, so after DEREX, so DEREX 1720, 29 minutes later, so there's DEREX, 29 minutes later, it's probably around here, about this mark here, we can start our descent. And what are we going to be targeting in terms of our descent? Well, we need to be at 3,000 feet, so we will target 3,000 feet. Now we may receive some vectoring and some altitude restrictions from Copenhagen, which has just gone offline, but as we get closer we may receive some vectors and some height constraints that we have to follow, and some speed constraints, so that may take us on a slightly different path. We'll be coming in from over this side here. We'll make a turn to Lamox, and at D9.3, which is this point just after Lamox, we've got to be at 3,000 feet to capture the glide slope. If we miss our approach, we've got to climb straight into 500 feet or 1.0 OXS, Oscar X-Ray Sierra, and after that DME, or whichever is later, so whichever one we hit latest, 500 feet or 1.0, we then turn left onto 187. We climb to 3,000 feet and we let ATC know we've got missed approach and we're going around. They will then give us constraints and some vectors to get us back in. Our decision altitude today, we'll be doing Cat 3, we can do 50 feet, but actually we'll do 108 feet is our decision altitude. So we'll need that a bit later on when we come to program the arrival. It's just typical that the minute we take off, ATC becomes available covering. Although after that takeoff, I'm pretty glad they weren't about. That was awful. That's probably one of the worst takeoffs I've ever done. I'm not even sure what was going on. Suspect a lack of concentration on the pedals has caused that. My own fault. So lesson learned. Let's get back in here and let's have another look. Okay, not much to see. It's quite a clear night. We're just now making our way over the coast of Estonia. Some islands just off the coast which we will go straight over the top of, and then we should be heading for our top of descent just after PIPAV. Just make sure see what's going on with it's just model matching. Okay. Tallinn traffic, speedbird 74 Bravo, just passing LONSA, flight level 160 for flight level 340. So just letting anybody else know that might be in the area that we are still climbing. We're just passing LONSA heading to ODVIN. but it's important that they know what our intentions are. There isn't anybody that I can see on the Vatsim map heading towards us. Certainly nobody else taking off from Tallinn, but there's plenty coming into Copenhagen. Copenhagen looks a little bit busy on the ground. I'll just have a look. There's Copenhagen on the ground. We've got a fair bit of activity. A bad bit of weather just to the east of Malmo. We're just up here, look. So Speedbird 74 Bravo. We've got 402 nautical miles to go. And we're heading down here. There is no ATC on currently. It has just gone offline, so hopefully that will come back online for us when we are there. Let's hope so. When we get closer to it. And that's when it does get really tricky, when you start to get ATC online. And don't forget, if you want your name displayed across the banner at the bottom, just give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll add you to the to our latest subscriber list. And let us know where we're going to go next. So remember, we're going to do all European countries and their dependencies. So far, we've done England to Scotland, Scotland to Iceland, Iceland to the Faroe Islands, and that was a stunning approach into Vega to Tromsø, so Norway, and Norway to Stockholm and Sweden, and then Stockholm to Tallinn in Estonia. So visiting all of the European countries and their dependencies, and don't forget, if there isn't an airport in the country, for example Monaco, it will be Nice, Côte d'Azur. We will make sure we visit the nearest one, and hopefully over the next few months we'll start to build up a bank of videos of our exploits. But let us know where next. Let's turn off that anti-ice now. Let's see if we can turn that off, because we should now be okay. There we go. No warnings. 7 tons of fuel should be okay. That'll give us enough reserve. I'm hoping we're not going to have to go to Leipzig, but if we do, we've got enough. Actually, I wonder where Leipzig actually is. I'm trying to see. It's quite a way. Steady time. So not much to see really. Typical night flight. We're doing quite a lot of those at the minute, but over Christmas hopefully we'll be doing more daytime flights. It's just worth allowing those aircraft up just above us. I wonder who that is. It's a Syndical. Oh no, it's not. That is going to Helsinki from Malpensa in Italy. Another A320. Typical, yeah. So we would have had coverage had we waited another 10 minutes. Not Vatsim, but never mind. Here we go, back in the cockpit. Nothing we can do about it. Not going to worry too much. So just skirting the islands off Estonia now. Going in between them, there's actually, whoops, what's that? There's one down here to our left, and there is actually another one down to our right. So while we're here and we're kind of waiting for things to happen, let's go into our electronic flight bag. And if we come up here and go to, oops, this third icon, this is our arrival performance. I'm going to click that. So, this is where we input our data on our arrival. We're arriving on runway 26 left. No, we're not. Just 22 left. 22 left. Okay. Now, I'm going to put good to medium because it has been raining and a bit snowy in Copenhagen as well. So let's apply the METAR. Really important. I'm just going to make a quick note of that. then its wind is at 190 degrees 11 knots. Currently it's 6 degrees 1007. Actually, I'm going to go with good because the snow will have melted. Now our landing weight is 63.4 tons, and on a low auto brake we'll need 2060 metres of runway, so that's what we will take. Now go back into the MCDU performance page, just go next phase, next phase, next phase, and here is where you put that detail in. So our QNH at 1007, we will need to check as we get closer because it will change. Temperature is 6 degrees. Wind, we've already established, is 190 at 11 knots. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet, so that's already done. Now our radio, where do we get that from? Well, we have to get it from the charts. So let's bring in the ILS approach, as we were talking earlier. Cat 3 is 50 feet. Cat 2, ABCD, is decision altitude is 108 feet, or height is 100. We're going to go with 108 feet for today's flight. And we'll put that into the radio section. So 108. Now what that means is at 108 feet we've got to make a decision whether or not we're going to continue with the arrival. If we decide that we're not going to, that's a go around. And remember, we follow the go around procedures. However, in the aircraft we will now get a call out at 208 feet. The aircraft will call out 100 above. That's warning you that in 100 feet you have to make a decision. Are you continuing with the landing or aborting it? And then at 108 feet you'll hear minimums. And again, that's your final decision. At that point you must decide, are we continuing or am I aborting, and I'm going to follow the go around procedure. That's the point that decision is made. So again, really important. So 364 nautical miles to go. We are flight level 273 for 340, so all clear so far. It's all looking really good. We could end up, you know, with a bit of a queue coming into Kalstrup. It is looking busy. Let's wait and see. I'm not going to worry until we get close. So let us know what planes are you flying at the moment. Which ones do you prefer? I'm in an A320 camp, I'm afraid. I'm not a Boeing fan. No other reason other than I just have not tried it. Not tried the Boeing, but I am tempted. I do have the Thrustmaster TCA Captain's Pack though for the Airbus, so it does make things a lot easier. But yeah, let us know what you fly. I will either be in the Fenix A320 or the fly-by-wire A320. Generally, that's where you'll find me. I do enjoy both. Oops, I didn't put the constraints on. I just wanted to do that. Just sometimes forget. I always put the constraints so I can see on the nav display the NDs. You'll hear it referred to as the ND, nav display, and the PFD, primary flight display. And you can see we're getting close now to our top of climb. We know that not only because we can see the altitude here, but also we get this little blue up arrow just after PIMEX. This little blue arrow, and that is our top of climb arrow. That tells us that at this point the aircraft will be at flight level 340, which is also reflected here. So the aircraft knows at flight level 340 we need to level off because we've reached the top of our climb. And I'll show you the top of descent marker, because that's another important one that we have to keep an eye on as we get closer. It's a white down arrow. We're okay there. Probably got a good half an hour, I would say, before we even start thinking about that. I can check it. Let's go to flight plan. Top of descent 1750. 1750. Time in the sim currently 1730. So about 35 minutes. We will be able to start our descent into Kalstrup. And there's that top of climb marker coming into view nicely now. Dee, 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 dee. 338 nautical miles to go. Been airborne 22 minutes, so you know, flight time 1 hour 23. So we've got about an hour before we're on the ground again, which is probably about right. So we have got FSLTL also loaded in here, but as we're on Vatsim, obviously Vatsim takes the priority. So we will see the Vatsim planes. We don't need to inject at all. And here's us making good time. All looking good. 331 nautical miles to go. Speed of 408 knots. Current altitude 31,668. That's a little lagged because we're now just topping off. We are now at flight level 340. Let's have a look at the charts again. Just at the PIMEX. There's a bit of a delay because we were going to be at PIPAV, but never mind. So there we are. Now making our way in a south-westerly direction to DEREX. You can put a call out if you want to. You don't need to, but you can put a call out just to let other aircraft know. But there are no other aircraft in our area. I do keep checking that. Copenhagen is still offline. We'll see. The chances are it will come online just as we're getting closer, but let's wait and see. So 122.8, 124.850. We actually want the ATIS, which is 122.750 ready. 122.750, and that's the ATIS for Copenhagen should it come online as we get closer. Let's wait and see. No aircraft in our vicinity at the moment. It is fairly quiet, but it will get busy. That's a given. It is going to get busy as we get closer to Copenhagen. I can already see there's flights here going in and out. All good fun. All good fun. So yeah, apart from that takeoff, it's all been fairly smooth. It's probably the worst takeoff I've ever done. I think it was, I just was not concentrating on the pedals and I was pressing them and I shouldn't have been. But there you go, such is life. We're doing all right. We're not dead. We survived it. It's not the takeoff that tends to be the problems normally. It's the landing. Not the best at landing the plane. Not a lot to see really in the dark. Not a lot to see. There will be as we start to cross it. We'll cross this southern tip of Sweden over Malmo as we descend into Copenhagen. Malmo well worth a visit if you haven't been. I would recommend flying into Copenhagen, having a few days in Copenhagen and jumping on the train to Malmo. Go over the Öresund bridge. That is an impressive feat of engineering. You literally pop out in the middle of the ocean. There's a tunnel from the Copenhagen airport under the sea, and out it comes, and then you go onto the bridge itself. And I can't remember whether you're above or below traffic. And yeah, straight into Malmo. The Twisted Building. If you ever visit Malmo, go and see the Twisted Building. It's a skyscraper that twists as it gets higher. It's quite an impressive sight. Really recommend that. Thanks to our latest subscribers. We've got Lucky Star Aviation, Mula Miggs, Enrique Alonso and Ray Tran, and H Lightsphere. Thank you very much for your support. Don't forget you can support the channel. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what we're doing is good for you. If it's not, what would you like to see instead? Also, let us know where we should go next. So we will be in Copenhagen. Where from Copenhagen should we visit? Anywhere in Europe that we've not visited yet? Let us know. Who knows? That could be our next destination. It's very, very quiet around here, the skies. Is that Copenhagen coming back online? No. No. So it looks like we'll be on Unicum all the way down, which is fine. We will just give call outs all the way down just to let everybody know that we're in the vicinity and what our intentions are. Really important that you don't just start descending without letting people know. People do get rightly frustrated over it. I think what I'm just going to do is just check on our... So, we haven't got any on the final approach, but so on our arrival, our standard terminal arrival at TIDVU, we do have a hold. So if we need to go into the hold, it's a right-hand hold. Maximum speed of 230 knots, minimum 5,000 feet. So we will need to make sure that we enter that hold if it's busy, but also if we're struggling to get our height down, because there are some constraints, as you can see here. We've got the TIDVU T Charlie by ESJA. We've got to be below 8,000 feet. We continue that descent profile to Adovi, where we've got to be below 4,000 feet. At Lamox, when we will turn here at Adovi to Lamox, we're going to have to be at 3,000 feet, otherwise we will not catch the glide slope. We need to capture it 3,000 feet. That will bring us down nicely into Copenhagen. So, a bit of work to do on our arrival, but I think we should be okay. Let's just check the plan again. It's better to make sure that you are fully... Hey? No, we're not there yet. That's part of our planning. I'm thinking, blimey, how can we be there already? We're not. We're not. That's good. So KOTAM, so just after KOTAM you can see there's our top of descent. There's the down white arrow. That is our top of descent marker. So we'll start our descent just after KOTAM, where we will descend down the profile. There's our constraints coming in at ESJA. So Estia, maximum 250 knots, got to be below that 8,000 feet. We've got no choice here, we have to be below 8,000 feet. Continuing on. Now for some reason, it's coming short of a Dovi. Now what we can do, I don't know whether this will work. A Dovi's there, so if I click the overfly button, and there we go, that's more like it. So what we've done there is just hit the overfly button before we start our turn. So that means that we'll go to Adobe and then we'll make our turn. So we're not going to come short, we're actually going to make the turn at Adobe round, which is what we should be doing according to the charts. So there's Adobe, we should be coming over Adobe before we start to make our turn to Lamox, which is here. So we'll overfly Adobe, Lamox, and then we'll be on final. Lamox, D9.3, D5.0, and in. And a descent profile there that you can see, which is 3 degrees. So we should be on a 3-degree slope, glide slope. Looking good. That chart looks better already. So yeah, if you come in short, if it automatically gives you a very short turn and you're not overflying one of your markers and you feel you should be, on your MCDU there is the OVFY button, overfly. If I just show you that quickly, OVFY, which is a triangle. If you click that and then click next to the waypoint you want to make sure you overfly and then insert it, you'll see it gets a triangle next to it. That's telling the aircraft you must fly over Adobe before you start to turn. And it corrects that issue that we had there where it was going to be short. So let's go back to the arc. Yep, like it. We're doing alright. Good profile. Bit of turbulence. It certainly didn't like that, did it? Making good time now. So was it 17:25? We've probably got about 25 minutes before we start our descent. And there you can hear somebody on Vatsim. It's somebody at Copenhagen. Okay, it's fine. It's not going to affect us. It's just taxiing. There was actually nobody about where we are. The nearest plane is probably a good 20, probably more than that, probably about 40 miles ahead of us. Straight off our nose at 18,000 feet currently. Funnily enough, on its way to Copenhagen, so I hope it gets a move on. I hope we don't get held up by it. I wonder if it will show up on... I doubt it. There it is. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. It's probably too far ahead, to be fair. Yeah, it's too far ahead. But there is another aircraft. We're okay. It's not going to bother us in this flight whatsoever. So, my signal's terrible. So yeah, over Christmas we will be doing some lives, we will be doing some daylight flying, because work should be a lot more straightforward for me. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and keep up to date where we are on our Euro tour. And we are hoping to do a couple of lives. We'll do a live up to Lapland at some point, going to see Santa. And a couple of other lives as well, which you can get involved in. Make some comments and get involved in the chat. And let us know where to next. Where should we fly? And it could well be that we choose your destination as our live event. Ba-ba-da-ba-bum. Fuel 5.9 tons. We're doing okay actually on fuel. Doing okay. I just see another aircraft in the distance there. I think I might have done. That is the problem with night flying over the sea. You don't really see too much, do you? Not a lot I can do about it. I mean, I could change the time in the sim so it's daylight, but I do like the night flying, and we will make sure we get some day flights recorded. Just checking this flight in front of us. He's got 167 nautical miles to go, and we've got 238 nautical miles to go. So not going to be an issue for us at all, I don't believe. Is there anybody else about the same distance that we are from Copenhagen? Doesn't look like it. I think most of them will be on the ground before we have to worry. Oh, apart from that one there. Okay, we do have a bit of a, not a clash, but I think it's going to be close. That's fine. As I said, if we need to, we just go to the hold, or we can adjust our speed and vector just to allow others to get in before us, and then we'll follow. Not in a major rush, you know, we don't want to ruin it for ourselves or other people. Try and keep it as real as possible. So let's follow the operating procedures. We're still waiting for that top of descent marker to come in, which will probably be in about 20 minutes. 18:16 on the ground, so 6:15, which is about right. So, yep, DEREX 21, we're heading to our top of descent at 1750, and as we pointed out on the charts, I use Navigraph. Well worth getting yourself a subscription if you haven't got one. I highly recommend it. We're going to target 3,000 feet. Now, the good thing about the Fenix is that, yes, we're going to target 3,000 feet. However, there are some constraints. So it will make sure that it follows these constraints because it has got VNAV, vertical navigation, already programmed in. So we're not going to break these constraints. The aircraft will make sure it is below flight level 080 by ESJA, below 4,000 feet by Adobe. Now, if that said, or had a line underneath it, that would mean you've got to be at or above 4,000 feet. So the aircraft would not break that constraint. It would follow that constraint. So it would not go below that. Even though we might have programmed 3,000 feet in, it would not go below that constraint because it's pre-programmed and it knows that it cannot break that constraint and it will follow it through. So neat bit of programming there from the Fenix team, and it is true to life. That's exactly what happens in the A320 in real life. The vertical navigation system won't allow the aircraft to break any constraint at all. Which is great, and it's very, very helpful. Now, because we haven't got any air traffic control coverage coming into Copenhagen, we will make our own announcements. However, you cannot descend. If you're in an area that is covered by air traffic control, you cannot descend without permission. Now, generally, 9 times out of 10, the controller will contact you before you're due to descend and actually give you your descent altitude and tell you to descend when ready to, I don't know, it might be flight level 100 for example. If they don't do that, it is your responsibility to make sure you call them up before you start descending. So always give air traffic control a call just to say permission to descend to and just let them know. They will either allow that or they will give you another altitude to descend to, and they will change your profile as you come down. Really important, don't start descending in air traffic controlled airspace unless you have the permissions to do so. It just annoys people. People get quite angry about it, rightly, so just follow the protocol and all will be good. So 212 miles to go. And we're just passing over Visby in Sweden, Ireland, just off the Swedish coast. We're about to fly over the top of some mean looking weather. I think we're going over the top of it, so I'm not going to worry too much. And then we'll start our descent. Everything's looking good, engines are looking good. No issues, good. As you say, it's pretty dark, there's not a lot to see outside, unfortunately. And we're obviously coming into range of some other aircraft. Okay, that's interesting. Just a lot of model matching issues coming through, but I do have quite a lot of custom rules already in here. Strange. Anyway, VMR files. There's a lot that you can get on flightsim.to. It's getting better, I have to say. The sim is getting a lot better in terms of missing files, and it's able to generate aircraft liveries for us and aircraft type. The FSLTL has made a huge difference, especially this latest update, where if you're in Dubai, for example, you will be surrounded by A380s. Well worth a look, and it's free. You just go to the fly-by-wire installer and click on the FSLTL and just download. And that's it. It is as simple as that. You'll need both files that are there, the injector as well, and then before you start your flight, if you're offline, just hit start injection and the software will automatically inject real world aircraft into the sim, and it takes its data from Flight Radar 24, and I have to say it's pretty accurate. It is pretty accurate, so yeah, have a look. So here we are, look, we made our way from Tallinn, southwesterly direction. There's Copenhagen here at the bottom, you can see it. Some events kind of happening in Copenhagen, 26th of December. There's a big event at the airport, Vatsim event, so if you're confident, get involved there. We're just making our way now, and just ahead of us is another flight, currently at 31,800 feet. He's got 112 nautical miles to go, whereas we have got 180 nautical miles to go. So there's enough distance between us, so we are going to be absolutely fine. see when that top of descent marker is coming in. There we go. There's our top of descent marker. Just here at KOTAM, we've got about 80, just over 80 nautical miles, probably close to 85, 90 nautical miles before we hit that point. There you go, 88 nautical miles before we hit that point and we start our descent. Good. Let's change that back to 20 miles. 20 miles radius. What we can do is actually just change the right hand display so we can see where we are. Just useful just to see both. And as we get closer I will actually change that to the landing system, so I can keep an eye on both nav displays that work independently of each other. They can show different things, so the co-pilot or first officer can have different display to the pilot, and the good thing is if you prefer your primary flight display to be on the right, so as the first officer may have it, you can do that by just clicking that button there. It swaps them over, so you can have your primary flight display on the right and your nav display on the left. Click it again and back they go. So again, it's just a little bit of configuration that you can choose. I prefer mine with the primary flight display on the left and the nav display on the right. I do tend to fly from the captain's seat rather than the first officer's seat. Just find it a bit easier. Nothing more than that really. So let's just come back into the Fenix. Let's have a look again. Let's have a check our METAR. So our arrival METAR. So if you're not comfortable or confident interpreting METAR, if you watch this is here we go. It is going to work. So the METAR for our arrival airport, that's the ICAO code for Copenhagen, Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel. This next bit of information that you see here is the date, so the 20th, so it's the 20th of December today, at 1720 Zulu. So this was last updated 20 minutes ago, 1720 Zulu. Wind is 190 degrees at 11 knots. So that's the direction, that's the speed. That's the visibility. Broken in meters, broken cloud at 8,000 feet. Temperature is 6 degrees with dew point at 5 degrees. Our QNH 1007. Got some more broken cloud here at 4,000 feet, so we'll come through two banks of cloud. That's just a very quick way to interpret the METAR, but it's really important because I'm going to go and just check that we've got that same data inputted into the MCDU. Now I think we have, but I'm going to check. So performance page, next phase, QNH 1007, correct, wind 190 at 11 degrees, temperature 6 degrees. So we have got the right information currently, but we will keep checking it because it can change at any time on the way into the airport. Really important, just keep checking that data, because the last thing you want is to have the wrong data and the airplane cannot make its adjustments for its landing, and you can end up in all sorts of trouble. So about 35 minutes and we'll be on the ground. We are chasing another aircraft in. In fact, we're chasing, looks like two aircraft in. One hasn't filed a flight plan, which is not helpful. Yeah, really not helpful at all, but anyway, can't do much about that. We'll worry about our own. Looks like it's heading for Copenhagen. We will just keep an eye on that. There is no flight plan filed for an aircraft in our vicinity. and we could end up on approach at a very similar time, so it's really important just to keep your wits about you. And that's why if you're on 122.8 Unicom, it is really important that you do announce your intentions, because there could be somebody else flying around you who has maybe not filed a flight plan, or could be on a collision course if we're not careful. So really important, just make sure that you do announce your intentions. Okay, 1743, we should start to see shortly the top of descent coming in. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get this ready. Now, providing I don't click anything, I'm going to put 3,000 feet because that's where we need to be. Providing I don't pull or push it, nothing will change. You'll notice I've put 3,000 feet in. We haven't actually changed anything on the primary flight display. However, you will see at the bottom here, the flight level, zero is actually 030, is there ready. And that's just showing us that we have programmed in 3,000 feet, and the minute we pull or push, we're going to get a change. The aircraft will start descending for 3,000 feet, but we can't do anything till we see that top of descent arrow, that down arrow, that white arrow come into view. And it's beyond 20 miles because KOTAM is 48 nautical miles, so we've got about 48 miles to go, and 1751, which is about 7 minutes away. So 7 minutes time we'll be ready to make our descent, and we will announce where we are. Looking good. Please don't mess the landing up as well as the takeoff. Apologies about that, anybody that's stuck through that. That's what you get for keeping your foot on the pedal and not concentrating. Entirely my own fault. Steady progress. Now got 135 nautical miles to go. Yeah, it's not looking too bad at all. Copenhagen airport itself is actually looking pretty busy at the minute. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on approach. We've got, how many we've got there? 3 on final in a line. Yeah, we've got one from Dublin, just on about to join the star. Yeah, it is busy, and there's lots on the ground ready to go as well. So we will keep our wits about us, because if ATC comes online, we are going to have to move fairly quickly. But we're now just passing over Sweden, coast of Sweden below us. Look, there you go. That's the coastline of Sweden. Just crossed. Not too much to see. We're now passing that southern tip of Sweden. Just getting ready to start our descent. Busy, busy, busy. Heading southwest now for Malmo. Fuel on board 5.2 tons, so we're okay in terms of fuel. We've got plenty to get us there, and plenty standby fuel should we need it. I don't anticipate us needing to direct to our alternate airport. I think we should be okay, but we have just got to make sure that we are using that Unicom. Just changing the brightness on this a little bit. Those beepings are just failing to model match. What does that look like? Scandinavian Airlines, SAS. That's fine. You do get quite a bit of that where the model matching isn't quite up to scratch. Nothing to worry about. Let me just change that. There we go. So we're actually using the FSLTL rules at the top. So there's a VMR file you can get for FSLTL. Put that at the top so that I know that's where it'll look first. And the AIG, I have to confess, I'm actually putting close to the bottom because I don't really use AIG anymore. I have it loaded just in case, but I don't really use it. Now here's our top of descent coming into view, look. KOTAM, and there is our top of descent. So we'll start our descent shortly. Let's find that. So we then go head to EKRAL. KOTAM for EKRAL. So we get ready to make that call in a second. Just going to keep our eye on that. It's all good. No hurry. Just take our time. Nothing about, but it is important. We will make that call. Let everybody know this is what we intend to do. So we'll let them know our intentions. And boy, is Copenhagen just suddenly got busy with arrivals. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrivals into Copenhagen. Wow. Hey ho. It's all fine. It's all good fun. That's why you do it. That's why you're on Vatsim. Don't be afraid just because there's lots going on to go on Vatsim. Yes, be confident in the aircraft that you're flying. Don't have an issue there, but don't be afraid. You know, ultimately, it is only a game. So if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. But most controllers are pretty lenient. They're understanding. They will give you lots of help and lots of support. So don't worry overly. But you must, one thing I would say, be confident in your aircraft. Make sure that you can, if you need to, you can go around. You're able to vector, change speed, change course, etc. Just make sure that you can do that, and you'll be fine. Give it a go. Do not be afraid of Vatsim. Adds to that realism. It is good, but it is only a game. Don't let anybody know I said that, but it is. Right, there we go. 5 miles to top of descent. And we'll let everybody know what we're doing. Here it comes. A good time. 17:51, should be on the ground. 18:16 still. So slight adjustment in course. Copenhagen traffic, speedbird 74 Bravo at flight level 340, just passing KOTAM, descending to flight level, to 3,000 feet on the TIDVU T Charlie star arrival. So all we've done there is just let anybody know we're on our way. We're on 122.8. Where we're coming in. Now I've not heard anybody else, so it's quite interesting. We might be a little bit far away, perhaps. Perhaps. Don't know. But let's wait and see. So southern tip of Sweden. Just making our way over there now, southwesterly direction. Then we'll head more southerly to TIDVU before we bank right. heading in an easterly direction on the TID Victor 2 Charlie arrival. All arrivals today into Copenhagen are Charlie arrivals. That was on the ATIS earlier, so we shall make sure we follow the Charlie arrival. Just check, is there anybody else about? Doesn't look like it. From our direction there are some coming from the other direction. There are plenty of takeoffs. It's not a problem though, we can live with that. (1818) slight delay now. That's not a problem. 122.8, 122.8, 122.750, just in case Copenhagen comes back on. That's our ATIS. Descending nicely, green dot in the box. So that's how you know whether you're on the right profile or not. This green dot needs to be in the yellow box in between those lines, and that's how you know whether you're descending at the right profile. So if it's above, you're too low. If it's below, you're too high. You may need to adjust the speed of descent just to make sure it stays within those two yellow lines there. But so far, descent profile's good, targeting 3,000 feet, making good progress. There's our radio call out, 108 feet, so we know 208, we're going to hear minimums, and then 100, sorry we're not, we're going to say here we're 100 above, and 108 feet minimums, that will be where we make our final decision on landing. It's good, all looking pretty good. 10,000 feet, we'll turn on the seatbelt signs and we'll turn on our lights as well, and we'll prepare for landing at 10,000 feet. No problem at the moment though, we're at flight level 269, so 26,900 feet, so we are descending along our profile as we anticipated. Green dot is stayed in the middle, just cutting off the corner of Sweden, and we'll start in about 15 miles to just take a more southerly direction, probably more south-southwest, before turning east and starting our approach on the star. So TID Victor 2 Charlie approach today, runway 22 left into Copenhagen. Some nasty weather south of Denmark, over the top of Germany. We're going to miss it fortunately. It does look pretty nasty. So if you are on Vatsim, you want to follow where you are, a good map to use. I use map.vatsim.net, SimAware. I think it's the official Vatsim map. Plots where everybody is. Also, when ATC comes online, you can get the ATIS, you can get all of the frequencies that you need. They all show as well. You just click on the airport or the airspace that you need it for. I find it extremely useful tool. So that's map.vatsim.net. So descend nicely, flight level 239 for 3,000 feet. We're going to get there in good time by the look of this. So heading to EKRAL before we start to make our turn to TIDVU. Just coming on to the arrival map here, look, so we're up here currently. It's not to scale, And we'll start a turn in a second, but we'll head more southerly to TIDVU. And we've got to make a decision at this point, are we going into a hold or not? And then we'll take a more easterly direction along the TIDVU 2 Charlie arrival. Remember, ESJA got to be below flight level 8,000 feet, and it looks like we're going to get there well in time. And then we'll follow the arrival up to ODVIN before we make a bank round to Lamox and straight in to runway 22 left. So turn here, Lamox, straight in, 22 left. All looking good. And 22 left is here, this runway here. So we'll try and get off if we can, Bravo or Charlie. Bravo 5, Charlie, and then we'll taxi down to Bravo. Then I think we'll have to make a decision after that. We'll taxi straight down Bravo and then Romeo, probably take one of the Charlie 33, Charlie 35, something like that, one of their gates there. So, plenty to think about, plenty to do. We're making good progress, but let's not take things for granted just yet. We're not on the ground. Just over Sweden, you can see we're descending, we're getting closer to the ground, making good progress in terms of heading to the star. So there's no constraint at TIDVU, it's ESJA, which is the first constraint that we will start to see.
Kalstrup traffic against route 7191 left on base 4 pilot 2 to left Kalstrup.
There we go, you can hear now. Kalstrup traffic. And we are going to have to be just mindful that it's a busy little airport. Everyone's on the ground there though. Looks like everyone that was ahead of us. There's one, I think there's one more to come in, and I think then it's takeoffs that you've got to watch. So 46 miles to go. Done well. We are going to head through a bit of a ropey cloud in a second before we turn east. I think we've got that all the way through our easterly direction. It's alright, it's all good. Let's turn on the landing system on the right hand side. Ready. Don't need to do anything else at the moment. We're quite happy with profile. Flaps don't need adjusting yet. We're looking for that 10,000 feet so that we can start to then turn the lights on and prepare for landing. Well, that's at the point we'll turn the seatbelt signs on as well, below 10,000 feet. And we've just got to look out then for the transition altitude of 5,000. That's when you move from standard to local. And remember, local is 1007. Important because that is what dictates your altitude. It's how the aeroplane will calculate the altitude it is at. Without it, you could crash, so you do have to be a little bit careful. So flight level 151 for 3,000 feet, making good progress down the star, almost there at TIDVU, where we will take that right turn in a westerly direction. I've been saying easterly, haven't I? It's westerly direction, which you can see right in front of you, that right turn. Level 140. getting closer, as you can see here. There's TIDVU, so getting closer, and we'll bank right to ESJA. Got to be below 8,000 feet, but at the moment we're right on profile. It's looking good. And we'll let Kalstrup traffic know in a second that we are actually on the star and our altitude. Let them know once we're through TIDVU. So not quite there yet, just making our bank now, westerly direction, following the TIDVU 2 Charlie arrival. Kalstrup traffic, speedbird 74 Bravo, flight level 110 for 3,000 feet, just starting on the TIDVU 2 Charlie arrival. So all we've done there is just let any aircraft know that we're on the TIDVU 2 Charlie arrival, and we are just making a start off flight level that we're at, but also what we're targeting. And in a second, you'll see the speed will start to slow down. We're just a little bit below profile at the moment. We're a little bit too low. I am going to just leave that, I think, for now, because the constraint was 8,000 feet. Below 8,000 feet. So I'm going to leave that. I could, if I wanted to, adjust the speed of descent, but it looks like the aircraft is doing that for us. I'm not going to do anything more. I'm just going to leave this to steadily come down, bring us down. It looks, profile's looking good. Back on profile now, look, the aircraft is automatically adjusted. It's going to have to move a little bit to get below 8,000 feet right enough. I should. 10 miles, we should get there, look. Targeting it nicely. And the good thing is, because the route we're coming in on, we're going to be well away from any traffic that is taking off. Sure on there. Looks a little bit behind on the maps, but now that's better. We've turned, you can see it. That was really strange. I was just looking on the Vatsim map and it was as though we hadn't even bothered turning. We were just heading. Oh, towers come online. Typical. Right, 122.750 is the ATIS. 118.100. Okay, so things are now going to get very tasty. Let's just listen to the ATIS.
2211. Make sure you have updated your database. If using ERIC 2210 or earlier, advise controller at first contact. At first contact with approach, state aircraft type. This was Copenhagen arrival information AFA. This is Copenhagen arrival information Alpha, at 1750. Expect IELS approach, runway in use for landing 22 left. Expect Charlie stars, visual approach on request. Transition level, flight level 65, wind 200 degrees, 10 knots. Visibility 4,500 meters, mist, clouds broken 400 feet, temperature +6. 2 point plus.
Okay, so we're just going to change this to now 118. 118.750. Which is tower. Let's just check where we are. So lights on. Whoops, that was already on. Strobe on. Put that on in a sec. Runway. Are they on? They're on. They're on. Okay, so we're all right there. Tower is 118 100. Have I got that programmed in? 118 100. And I will get a message in a minute, I am sure. Oh dear me, got a bit of scrolling to do, just bear with. Because we have got some changes we've now got to make as well. There we go, we can listen to the tower. Let's just come in here because performance page we're now going to have to change. QNH is 1007, that's fine. 200 degrees at 10 knots. That's it. Okay.
9 Echo Charlie, can we prøve again?
Listen to that because I can't hear what that said then.
9 Echo Charlie, Kalstrup Tower. Jeg ser stadig ikke en flight plan. Du står stadig som en arriving og ikke en departing.
Okay, disconnect and we come back.
Roger.
Hvad med nu?
9 Echo Charlie, det ser okay ud. Stand by for clearance.
Yeah, we're going to get in a second, you're going to hear, well, I think so, you're going to hear requesting information from us, but I think we'll contact them on final approach rather than do anything now. So we're still targeting, got to be below 4,000 feet by the next.
Charlie, you cleared Hamburg with Nexon 2 Charlie departure out of runway 22 right. Initially climb flight level 70, squawk 1472.
Cleared to Hamburg by Nexon 2 Charlie, 2 to the right, initially 7,000 squawk 1472.
Let's go approach phase, I think. Activate that. Confirm. Aircraft will start to slow down. Flaps 1. Just going to keep this speed up a little bit. Just for a little bit. We don't need to be that slow just yet. Speed constraint, 220 knots is what we need to be targeting actually. $20 knots, there we go. 220 knots.
Tower, just to let you know, it's at 7191, very close to the minimums on the landing on 22 left. Maybe 10-20 feet.
Speed brakes are armed.
At least the next plane.
We want medium auto brake.
Yeah, 7191, say again, that was a bit unclear.
Medium auto brake.
It was very close to the minimums, I mean 20 feet maybe.
7191, what was close?
We've got low visibility.
The visibility, I mean.
Really low visibility, so this is going to be an interesting landing.
7191, A firm.
So 220 knots all the way to Ubegi. Sorry, to Adovi, and at Adovi we can then start to slow down as we start our final descent. QNH, let's go 1007, targeting 4,000 feet, which is correct. We've got to be below 4,000 feet by Adovi. let them know when we're on that final approach. I've got a contact first and a second. I've not had anything that says contact me. I've no messages at all that I'm aware of. No. So there's going to be a lot of talking in a minute, so you're going to have to bear with me, I'm afraid. So I've got to be at 220, not at Adobe, which I am at. I'm going to then make that sweeping turn for Lamox. I'm going to overfly Adobe, and then I'm going to contact Tower. Once I'm established on the ILS, actually, that's when I'll contact Tower. He may tell me off, he may tell me no. Slowing down nicely, ground spoilers are on, seatbelt signs are on, landing lights are on. Really poor visibility. Really poor visibility. We're going for this, but it's going to be difficult. Flaps 2. I need to capture that ILS. It's not looking good. Flaps 3. Full flaps. Let's get ourselves down. Come on. Get down to 3,000 feet. Here we go. Lamox 3,000 feet. Yep. Starting to descend. I may not talk a lot of sense while we're doing this, by the way. So magenta diamonds coming down slowly. Gonna hit approach. Just so we know. Slowly descending. Visibility is so poor.
Kalstrup, hello, FedEx 1283.
FedEx 1283, Kalstrup, hello.
Hello, Echo 7-0, finishing Alpha 2, copy clearance to SUVIX.
FedEx 1283, you're cleared Zurich with the next 2 Charlie, departure out of runway 22 right, initially climb flight level 70, squawk 6131.
Bear with me.
If you're getting any
repeat, I apologise.
FedEx 1283, the feedback is correct.
Okay, need to concentrate now. Coming down nicely. Approach phase is armed. Landing system is armed. Not established yet. Ooh, please capture. Can't capture it. Get it. There we go. Kalstrup Tower, Speedbird 74 Bravo, A320, information Alpha QNH 1007, established on the ILS.
Speedbird 74 Bravo, Kalstrup Tower, hello. Runway 22 left, wind 200 degrees at 10 knots, you're clear to land.
Yeah, clear for landing, speedbird 74 Bravo.
Kalstrup Tower, very good evening, Swiss 8259, down Charlie 283 with information Alpha requesting air fraction to DEREX.
Coming down
Swiss
nicely.
825 Mike, Kalstrup Tower, hello, you're cleared to Zurich with the next 2 Charlie departure, out of runway 22 right, initially climb flight level 70, squawk 6032.
Sorry if that's a bit loud, I can't control it at the moment, just got to watch what I'm doing, and I'm about to put the landing gear down, landing gear down.
To right, initially level 70, squawk 6032, Swiss 825 Mike.
Swiss 825
No
Mike,
warnings, all green so far. Still can't see the runway, which is a slight concern, but we are coming down. All green, no blue.
Tower FedEx123 is ready for push and start.
FedEx 1283, push and start approved, QNH 1007, release point Tango 3.
Yep, 5 miles. Still no airport in sight. It could be a bit of an auto land. Don't really want to do that if I'm perfectly honest with you, but let's wait and see what happens. I still cannot see the runway. Coming down nicely though, 1300 feet.
And FedEx 1283, please check sport mode Charlie.
Check it, 123.
Medium auto brake. There's the runway in sight.
1 Charlie 123.
Keep going. Looking good so far. Don't mess this up.
FedEx 123, we're ready for push and start.
FedEx 1283, push and start approved, QNH 1007,
right,
release point
good.
3 facing south.
500.
Coming down nicely.
Push and start is approved, facing south. We will be
Slight
Tango
crosswind.
facing south. FedEx 1283. Above.
Continue.
Minimum.
Continue.
50. 30. 20. Retard.
And we're down. Vacate the runway, we'll call up. Just bear with. Let's get beyond here, and then we'll call up. Kalstrup Tower, speedbird 74 Bravo, vacated runway Bravo 5.
Speedbird 74 Bravo, Kalstrup Tower, hello. Welcome to Kalstrup Airport. Continue taxi Bravo, Yankee, Lima and Juliet for stand Alpha 23, cross runway 12.
Yeah, taxi Bravo, Yankee, Lima, Juliet, cross runway Lima for Lima 23, crossing runway 12.
Stand Alpha 23.
Sorry, could you repeat that stand number again? Sorry.
Speedbird 74 Bravo, of course. Stand Alpha 23 at Juliet taxiway.
Yep. Thank you very much. Alpha 23, speedbird 74 Bravo. Alpha 23. Bloody hell, we got a long old journey here. Right, okay. Here we go. So Bravo. To Bravo. We're going to cross runway 12, so that's fine. He did give us permission to do that. So that's part of the problem if you come on Vatsim. You're not guaranteed you're going to get a near, unfortunately, a near runway, near taxi to a stand, but never mind, it's all good. So Bravo, crossing runway. So we've got Yankee, which is the second one. So crossing runway, which is allowed. He's given us permission to do that. I'm not taking this one. We're going to take the next one, which is handy.
Ready for pushing start, Swiss 825 Mike.
Swiss 825 Mike, push start approved, QNH 1007, release point Romeo 1 facing south.
Pushing approved on Romeo South and QNH 1007, Swiss 825 Mike.
Swiss 825 Mike, confirm Romeo 1 release point.
All the way to the end.
Romeo South, Swiss 825 Mike.
Roger.
So we're basically now on Yankee, coming down all the way. We've got Lima and Juliet.
Tower, good evening. Alpine 3 to Tango.
So it's a bit of a trek, but never
left.
mind. All good experience. And again, you know, if you're not sure, ask for them to
3
repeat it.
2 Tango, negative, Charlie position only clears.
No, I didn't hear him.
Copy, I'll call you back.
It's perfectly alright just to say, look, not sure, could you just repeat that for me, please? Key to this, do not panic. It's not an issue. Just take it nice and slowly. Now we're on stand 2-3, Alpha 2-3, which is right at the other end of the airport, but never mind. Probably spend more time taxiing than we did in the air almost. I have had that before, flying into Paris from Stansted. More time actually taxiing than we were in the air. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So Mike, so we're a bit off yet. Mike, okay. So just going to continue down Yankee, and at the end of here we are going to make our way, looks like, yeah, at the end of here I think we take our right and then left onto Juliet. So we'll keep going to the very end. This is the very end by the looks of it. Okay, well, we got down safely. It was a good landing. It was better than the takeoff, let's be honest. And welcome to Copenhagen, Kalstrup Airport, next leg of our Euros tour. We're doing okay. Where are we going to go next? You let us know. Which country should we visit next? So this is the split. I'm going to come round here, follow this round, and then what we are going to do, I'm hoping, and follow it to the left to Juliet. If I've got this right, we're coming on to Juliet now. Right, and now I've got to find stand 2-3. Now that ain't so easy. Oops. Probably because I've just taken a shortcut, which was not intentional. And I can't even see where the stand numbers are. Oh dear me. Oh, I've missed my stand. I'm going to just take the next one, I think.
Speedbird 74 Bravo, Kalstrup Tower. You missed your stand. Take any available on right.
Yeah, we'll take any available. Thanks very much. Speedbird 74 Bravo. Oops. There it is. There it is. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Request taxi Swiss 825 Mike.
Ah, that'll do.
Swiss 825 Mike, taxi Romeo Yankee.
We'll disconnect from there as we are. There we go. Welcome to Copenhagen. Let's just make sure flaps are up, ground spoilers are disarmed, brakes are off. We've probably blinded everybody, but never mind. Strobe off, nav off, those off. And parking brake is set. Now what we can do, let's have a look. We're not going to start the APU. I'm just going to turn off the engines. And there we go. Kalstrup. Next leg of our tour across Europe. Wasn't the best of takeoffs, was it? It wasn't the smoothest, but landing wasn't too bad, and we got there. And that's travelling on Vatsim as well, which got busy towards the end. Hope you enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments where you'd like us to go next, and don't forget, give us a like, give us a subscribe, support the channel, let us know what we're doing is okay. Till next time, goodbye.